We need to talk. And I have something really interesting to share with you. I mean, I can't say I didn't see something like this coming. I've been saying to my wife, something's going to happen. Something's got to give. The worm is turning. Something's something's going to break. It simply can't keep going this way without civil war or world war. I have those that I blame. We all play our parts, but let me just let me start by making my own statement. Some things that I've thought about this morning, and that is to say that as conservatives, have been saying for years that the left controls the media, the mainstream media, most of social media, and to argue to say otherwise is utterly delusional. And I've had this debate with people for years, and I've lost friends. I lost a really good friend in California over this, and now it's become evident that it's not about being right or wrong. It's about saving a country and saving civilization. But I lost a friend who didn't believe, and part of our disagreement was that he was being brainwashed by social media. Or you're being protected from the truth and from the bulk of information that's out there, and you're spoon fed this much of this much. Um, to be satisfied, okay, if you're on the left, to be satisfied with your side cheating, interfering with free speech, attempting to dismantle our Constitution and destroy our cherished values and way of life, is illustrative of the decay of the far left and the Democratic Party as a whole. Every great civilization that has come before us has fallen. And it is my belief currently that time will tell, history will record that the left was our Achilles heel that is bringing down this nation. Can we reverse it? I don't know. And what does that mean? Well, I don't know. Because it mean civil war that could precipitate a world war? Yes, sadly. And we don't know what that looks like, but we know that war is hell, don't we? Some of us, those of us who know history, or those of us with imagination, or who have seen it firsthand, it's hell. The far left has been, for many years, actively choking off any meaningful discussion. They are attempting at every turn to criminalize dissent and disapproval, but mainly disapproval of what they want. It's not to be a discussion anymore. Doesn't it seem like that is the current environment? Um, while they work to remove the many cherished freedoms that we have and overhaul our basic way of life, you see, you know, that if you look at, as I've said, the main populace, main population of this country, they're conservatives, and what we're doing is catering to the few, to the elite, to this ruling class. This is not what they have, and what they're creating is not consensus here. So this is the kind of thing that touches off powder kegs. Um, the far left protects, elevates, and rewards the weakest and most perverse of our citizens. Do you notice that? Social media is and always has been largely under the control of the left. And the one of the arguably smartest men in the world recognized this, or smartest men in our country, Elon Musk. I do think he's a highly intelligent individual. He's a gifted brain and visionary. And recognizing this, he took control of Twitter and forged X, um, which was to take away so much power from the left, the battering ram, the brainwashing of the left. And it's a problem if you're on the left and you don't see the abuse that is done in your name or perhaps by you. Just think about it. Try a role reversal uh, exercise in your mind. What if the right had control of all the media? You complain so much about Fox News. That's one entity. Robert Kennedy Jr. complained that he had like two interviews at this point in his campaign for president. He's had like two interviews with the major networks. He said that at this time in his campaign back historically, Ross Perot, as some of you are too young to remember, but it wasn't that long ago for those of us that are old enough to remember. Ross Perot had already had some 30 interviews in mainstream media. So Kennedy couldn't get any groundswell as an independent because it's controlled by the liberals, and the liberals want a Biden Harris or a Harris administration, which is outrageous and absurd. This woman is not qualified to have any kind of political office, except maybe municipal, in a small demographic, if that. But that's an argument for another time. Ask yourself, how am I okay promoting, supporting, elevating a candidate who is not smart enough to debate? She's not smart enough to face the media. She won't do these things, and she uses the bullshit tired rules for radicals playbook and accuses Trump of being a coward and not wanting to debate while she's canceling debates and ignoring the media. And the media that is in their control, she's not even smart enough to work with that because, they have to talk to Fox News, and she can't do that. Those reporters are all way, way smarter and more agile intellectually than her. Yeah, but they want to elevate and reward the most perverse, the most base behavior. As I said the other day, we need to be, again, a meritocracy. We need to be a meritocracy, as I think Elon recently said. Reward and position people based on merit alone, not because, oh, you're this color, oh, you're that sex. That's not how we choose leaders. We choose leaders because of greatness and great ability to lead and to govern. And I understand. All right, what I digress. Let me get into this. This is the letter that I have to read for you from Mark Zuckerberg. This will blow your mind. And this contains a wading in of sorts to a mea culpa, a larger mea culpa, which includes a lot more than he's saying, but you get the gist of it, and it says it. And I'll read it. Forgive me, I don't have my glasses on. Oh, they're nearby. All right, let me put my glasses on. All right, get ready. Now, this is to the Honorable Jim Jordan, Chairman, Committee on the Judiciary, United States House of Representatives, and the address. Chairman Jordan, I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I have taken away from this process. And he goes on now with that. There is a lot of talk right now around the U.S. government, how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta. And I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We're about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. Well, I wish that that were true, Mr. Zuckerberg. I wish that that has been true. Who knows? Going forward, as part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns about public discourse and public safety. In 2021, senior officials with the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID 19 related content, including humor, satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Now, how many times have your conservative friends, cohorts, family members, co-employees, how many times did they tell you this? And how many times did you reject it out of hand? Be honest. Let's be honest. It's time. It's time to really discuss this stuff. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content down, and we own our decisions. In other words, our bad decisions. We made the choice to censor and include our own decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe that the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I also think that we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. Yeah, we kept saying we have other information, we have other scientists, but your hindsight tells you this. We knew it then. We were reading the material then, and you were rejecting it. And we were trying to save people. We were trying to help people. And I still to this day cannot say what I believe about the COVID-19 and the vaccine. I can't say it, or the video will be taken down. I simply cannot state my truth. I cannot state it as theory. I cannot state it as fact. I may not state it. I'm not allowed because of the control of social media. I can say it on X, but that's about it. And that's because of Elon Musk taking X. And if he had taken control of Zuckerberg's platform, you would have had freedom of information there as well for those years preceding the COVID-19 and the election that was stolen and whatnot. I believe the pressure was wrong. I don't think many choices we made. Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we are ready to push back if something like this happens again. Wow. I mean, it's great to hear, but it happened. This was historical. You were responsible for people's decisions in this health crisis, and you were responsible for the election of a fraudulent and criminal president. Come on. You just can't you're definitely not overstating this. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2000 election. That fall, when we saw the New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving the Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to our fact checkers. In other words, we put it in the trash for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. So you can wait forever for your fact checkers. In other words, you just shelf it until you've got the persuasion and influence go in the right direction and electing the candidate that you want elected. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. Oh my God. We changed our policies and processes to make sure that this doesn't happen again. It's like, well, we accidentally killed grandma, but next time we won't kill grandma. Or like, it's done. You did it. And why it's not acceptable for small children to give that kind of apology and say, I won't do it again. And they tend to do this kind of stuff over and over again. But again, I digress. We've changed our policies and processes to make sure it doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the US while awaiting for fact checkers. Remember how frustrating that was? It was, if you had something that was demoted and it was waiting for fact checkers, you knew it. You knew what the story was. Apart from content moderation, there's one more paragraph. So it's a pretty concise little piece. Apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure that election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic. Oh, bullshit. Come on. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analysis I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. Oh, you think? Come on. My goal is to be neutral and not play a role in one way or another. That may be your goal, but that hasn't been your MO, my friend. Far, far, far from it. To even appear to be playing a role. So I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. Respectfully, Mark Zuckerberg, founder, chairman, and CEO of the Meta Platforms. So there you have it, my friends. You have a mea culpa. No, you have a confession, more or less. Well, you have a confession here. You know, as we said over and over and over, when do you get the recognition of the truth and what's really happening in the world? You are being brainwashed by activity like this. If you've believed, and now what do you do? How do you disseminate this? How do you process this information? If you are a left-leaning person and you've believed that the narrative as it was laid out, as it was whittled down and spoon-fed to you, now what do? Do you say, oh, well, I'll believe everything he says from now on because he says he's going to do better? Or, I'll believe that I'm not being it's not social, it's not tinkering, and they're not surfacing what they want us to see. I'll believe that it's organic and I'm getting the real story and I'm getting people's real opinions. No, they've been shutting us down. So it's shameful and it's irresponsible if you are on any party and another party is successfully shutting down your opponents or your opponent's party. It's unfair. That's not a proper means to an end. If for example, say Trump was in his first term and all of a sudden a Democrat challenger came along and Trump, as you imagine, he didn't do any of these things that they said he's going to do last time he was in office. In fact, he was cheated out of his second term by a criminal. Then we now know as a criminal, but other the far lefties think he's an honorable person, as they think Kamala is as well. But imagine if Trump abused his power and got corrupt prosecutors and judges they wouldn't have to be very corrupt to convict the Biden family, but imagine if his challenger was somebody like Biden and he used every trick, dirty, stinking trick in the book to bring charge after charge, allegations, let crazy women bring him to court and prosecute him for rape in a dressing room. Come on now. That doesn't really seem to be this guy's MO, but all right. But imagine this kind of chicanery if the roles were reversed, if Trump was doing this abusing government power. This is banana republic kind of garbage. And if you're saying, oh, I would never vote for a felon, any politician who's been in politics for, say, 10, 20, 30, whatever years can be convicted on something. They're not squeaky clean. And we know that Trump is not Jesus. We know that. We get that. I've had many problems with Trump. He's got a big mouth. He's toning it down. He's learning his lesson. But the man is a better statesman. He's a better leader than anything the left has to offer right now. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I know I got lost in the message, but hopefully you are sharing this and you're processing it. If you are on the left, or if you're a far left nut job, I know you're not. I know you're angry. I know you just have Trump derangement syndrome so bad that you can't. Your mind is mush like Robert De Niro. That's gonna be let's let that be the new saying. Your mind is mush like Robert De Niro. That guy is crazy. These people are nuts. Nuts. What substantive argument does De Niro have? What points is he trying to make? Oh, the guy's a bully. The guy's a freaking bully. He's a piece of shit. He needs a script. De Niro get him a script. The man can't form thoughts on his own. He he's basically saying, I don't like him. So say, I don't like him, but stop trying to influence politics with your diatribe of he's a bully, the guy's a piece of shit, he's a effing this and effing that. You're not saying anything. He's a bully. It's like, who's a bully? Biden's the one talking about bringing him behind the gym and beating him up. How can how is that okay in your mind to have to listen to also, I didn't mention that the left is heavily under the control and influence of Hollywood. Make believe land. Yes, I'm an actor. I like to make believe from time to time and get a paycheck. But I'm not influenced by these knuckleheads. You shouldn't be either. I've never had Biden derangement syndrome. I've been looking at him and seeing the actual criminal activity. You guys have, I mean, you got, you want, you're getting Trump prosecuted on real estate price inflation and some nut job. If you look at this woman and read about this woman, this is not shaming a victim. That's a nut. She's a nut. And corrupt judges and DAs, prosecutors, they're all in this together. It's like Banana Republic 101. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Go look it up, reread it. Mark Zuckerberg confesses and basically apologizes for controlling the narrative and brainwashing people in doing so. Thank you for watching.